Hey there, and welcome back to this random level 1 run of Elden Ring. Last time we went around to a whole bunch of random places in order to kill a whole bunch of random bosses for their remembrances, and today we're going to do much of the same. So today we're going to start by going to see Vare at the Rose Church in order to keep the questline going, and he's going to give us this piece of cloth and ask us to put blood on it, so one quick trip to the Church of Inhibition and we're done with that. That didn't take long. Now he gives us the medal to teleport to Magwen Palace, so that's where we're going for now. Now there's no way in hell I'm beating Mog right now, but that's not going to stop me from going around the entire place to loot most of what I can find and getting murdered by crows, obviously. But there's actually two reasons I came here, the first of which is right here in front of me, and of course it's the Golden Sea, because I want all the flasks I can get. And the second one is this NPC over here, the Nameless White Mask. Yeah, I wanted him to kill me, obviously, but actually I can go ahead and kill him after coming back to life, and there's actually 3 of them, and if you kill them all, you get the White Mask, which has the Lord of Blood exaltation effect built in, and then I die to another crow. Pick up the Helic Drake Talisman +2 for survivability, and then head into the skeleton zone to get slapped by a giant torso trying to pick up an item, and it's just an innocent butterfly anyway, so who even cares. And then pick up the Grace and start running and looting throughout the entire area with the bleeding corpses. During the cave part, however, I accidentally went the wrong way and cornered myself with the merchant, so I ended up spawning both of the Sanguine Nobles because of it, and while I tried to fight them, it didn't really take long for me to die. So on my second attempt, I went the same way, but I used the Sanguine Nobles animation of them spawning in to get some free hits and kill them easily. A little later, while I was looting the cave, I've come across another Sanguine Noble, who kicks my ass, because of course, and after running through everything, for real this time, I eventually managed to reach the last Grace, and I tried to get the chest with the spinning stone inside, but I kinda got cornered and got my ass kicked. So coming again the second time, I managed to take a better route to avoid getting immediately destroyed, and I just barely managed to pick up the spinning stone before immediately dying right after. And while I was here, I figured I might as well give Moog a try, because why the heck not? Actually, I lied. I gave Moog 2 tries, but that was all I could manage before I said screw that. So now, since I had Moog on the mind, I figured I might as well do Yura's questline for the Crystal Tear thing that lets you nullify his big Nihil move. But he wasn't at Eternia, so I had to go see him in Limgrave and kill Egil before I could go ahead and get summoned to help him with the dude. And then I could go to the Second Church of America to fight Eleonora, and she burned me alive in a single hit, which was very funny. And she also screamed at me, and that was enough to kill me, apparently, but I did manage to get her on my 3rd try. With that done, I head into Dragon Barrow in order to pick up a Somber Smithing Stone 9, as well as an 8 that I didn't need, and I used both of them to upgrade the Bloodhound's Fang all the way up to +9, and then I head into Deep-Root Depths for my next couple of boss encounters, but only after I do a bunch of random shenanigans, including looting, bringing down a mausoleum, and getting murdered by a gargoyle. Twice, actually. The 3rd time I didn't die, my horse did, but I don't care about him, so whatever. And now I can finally get started on the boss fights I was talking about, starting with Pia's champions, because I need to kill them to go ahead and fight Fortisax, whom I want to kill because Remembrance. And well, Pia's champions wasn't hard, it just took a bit because I had to mess around with the trio and dodge everything. But in order to fight Fortisax, I need to continue Fia's questline, and to continue Fia's questline, I need to continue Ronnie's questline. So after talking with everyone, except Blythe, who wasn't there for some reason, I honestly have no idea why, I could go back to Nokron and open this chest that I couldn't open last time, so I can get the Fingerslayer blade, and I also allowed this giant to scream at me, which is kind of funny that he could reach me from all the way down there. So you give the Fingerslayer blade to Ronnie, and after a bit of talking, she goes ahead and gives you the Carian inverted statue that you can use at the Carian study hall in order to flip the entire building upside down. And now you get to have fun getting bullied by Miriam. So although it's not required, you should really go ahead and kill her anyway, because she's annoying. And after dropping down on a whole bunch of beams, you reach an elevator, which you can use to go all the way down to the bottom and start the walking simulator all the way up to the Divine Tower. Well, there is a Godskin Noble who shows up at some point, but he was feeling kind of lethargic today and he barely even bothered trying to kill me, so that was easy enough. At the top of the Divine Tower is the Stargazer heirloom, as well as the thing you need for Fia's questline, so you go back, you give it to her, and after some more talking, you'll finally be able to go ahead and challenge the worst boss in the game, Fortisax. And I stand by that, this boss sucks. Well, Ancient Dragons just suck in general, but Fortisax is the worst of them all, except maybe the DLC one, but we don't talk about him. Because he has all these unique attacks and gimmicks that just make the fight take even longer and feel even more drawn out. And I hate him in a normal playthrough, and as it turns out, I hate him even more when I can't afford to take more than one hit, sometimes even 0 depending on the attack he's using. My only saving grace was my +9 Bloodhound's Fang, which thanks to its high upgrade level was at least able to give me serviceable damage, so the torture wasn't going to last very long at least. Well, eventually the one-shots were starting to get a little annoying, and I figured I had to do something about them, so I took a quick trip to Dragon Barrel to bully the putrid avatar that's over there, and it was a nice little palate cleanser with how easy he was. And killing him grants you the Opaline Heart Tier for your Physics Flask, which grants some damage reduction against everything. Fortunately, the Opaline Heart Tier was enough to stop me from getting one-shotted by some of Fortisax's attacks. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to protect me from all the clusterfuck of lightning strikes that's happening all over the place. Well, anyway, the Opaline Heart Tier did its job of preventing me from getting one-shotted by all of Fortisax's annoying attacks, so while it was still a pain in the ass, it did help tremendously, and that allowed me to finally manage to put this bastard down for good. So after all of that, I started going all over the place in order to pick up a whole bunch of protection talismans in order to, well, prevent myself from getting one-shotted in the future. And at some point I also got this grave duelist to get slaughtered by this guillotine, and if you think that was a mean thing to do, the game thought so too, and it delivered me my karmic justice. So I went and killed the ancient hero at the end, just so I could warp out of there, and back to Dragon Barrow, I tried to take a shortcut down this cliff, only to get myself killed instead. So going the long way around, I make my way to Dragon Barrow Cave, and at the boss fight I ended up getting myself killed, because I decided to neglect the guy throwing projectiles. So the second time I just focus him down instead, and because of his garbage HP he's easy enough to kill, and then the remaining one is easy enough to kill as well during the 1v1. Killing them grants me the Flame Drake Talisman +2, and afterwards I went back over to Lanedale in an attempt to make my way into the sewers. But because I'm kinda dumb, I can never remember where the goddamn well you're supposed to enter is, so I just spent some time wandering around all over the place and getting into a whole bunch of shenanigans, and after killing the Erdtree avatar and getting bored, I just ended up looking up where it was. Now that I no longer have an excuse to be stupid, I can finally find the well and head inside to the subterranean shunning grounds and pick a fight with a lobster because he was in the way, but well, he kinda murdered the hell out of me, so trying to take my revenge, I ended up getting murdered again. And again. In fact, he started beating the crap out of me so hard, he even once managed to kill me before I could even make it down to him in the first place, and afterwards he also killed me one more time just for good measure, but on my 6th attempt I accidentally aggroed the second lobster, which I thought was gonna be a big problem, but as it turns out they have friendly fire, and this allows the first lobster to basically kill the second lobster for me, so I don't have to put in anywhere near as much work. So with one of the lobsters gone, the only thing that was left to do was finally take my revenge on the first one, because I actually managed to kill him on this same attempt. And afterwards I could loot both Somber Smithing Stone 7s down here, as well as Mog's Shackle, before heading into the Lanedale Catacombs so I could fight the boss at the end. But before that, I had to get myself killed by the Soulman a couple of times. And just like the lobster, he too used his domination powers over me to get me killed before I could even reach him, and eventually, after all of that, I said screw it, and I just picked up the item he was guarding, which wasn't even worth picking up at all, and then I ran for my life to pull the lever and make my way over to Esger. Despite being an NPC fight, this was actually kind of a pain in the ass, mostly because of those goddamn dogs that just won't leave you alone, and in a level 1 run you just really can't afford to take hits like you normally would. But eventually I somehow managed to hit both dogs with my Ash of War, killing them, and with that Esger was easy enough to finish off all on his own, so I can get the Lord of Blood's Exaltation from him. So now it's back to Lanedale for me, because I feel like I've finally messed around for long enough, and now I'm ready to go ahead and fight Margit. And when I say fight, I of course mean flailing my arms around completely randomly in the hopes that he'll somehow keel over, because goddamn I suck at this fight. In hindsight, it makes a lot of sense, because when I get here in normal playthrough, I'm usually way too over-leveled with a weapon that's way stronger than it's supposed to be, so this fight usually ends up being a total cakewalk, and without those advantages, I just have absolutely no idea what the hell I'm doing. But eventually I remembered that Margit's Shackle exists, and with an unlimited number of use, I figured why the hell not use it. So Margit's Shackle obviously does help, but I'm still bad at the game, so it's definitely not perfect. But I would just open the fight by using it basically right as he comes towards me, and on my winning attempt I decided I would just use it both times right at the beginning for some easy chunky damage. And considering Margit's bad HP, a +9 weapon, a bleed proc, and a crit, I somehow managed to chunk like 80% of his HP right at the beginning of the fight. And for some reason, he also didn't immediately transition into phase 2, despite the fact that he was well below half HP. So by the time he did transition, he was basically almost dead. So just a few hits later, I finally managed to kill him. So with Margit defeated, I could go ahead and get rejected by the Erdtree, receive the World Medallion from Elena, and after a quick chase and elevator ride, I could start making my way over to the Forbidden Lands, but not before I got distracted by a beetle anyway. But as it turns out, I couldn't actually kill this beetle because he actually has a second phase, and his transformation staggered me, and the knight used that opportunity to kill me. So the second time I just killed the knight so he won't be able to bother me later on. And without him, I was really able to kill the beetle without any issues for his smithing stone. After yet another elevator ride, I arrive at the Forbidden Lands, where nothing ever happens here because there's only like 4 items and a couple of enemies. So riding past all of that with my horse, I get to the mountaintops of the giants, pick up his smithing stone bell bearings, some random somber smithing stones on the way, buy some rune arcs from a merchant, fight an Erdtree avatar who, thanks to his ancient tree techniques of cloning himself, managed to kill me, and then I pick up another smithing stone before getting burned. Grab seppuku on the way for later, go for a rematch against the Erdtree avatar who kills you once again, but on my third try with a bit of patience and baiting the other avatar away from the one I'm trying to kill, I managed to go ahead and land myself a crit right at the end so I could actually kill him this time rather than getting up. Get some random crystal tears I'll probably never use, participate in a highly intriguing and enthralling and interesting battle against a random Tibia Mariner just for the sake of it, and afterwards you can casually ride on past a Deathrite bird in order to get to Castle Sol. Well, I don't feel like dealing with anything this place has to throw at me, so I kinda just ran straight to the end, getting smacked on the way, and right at the grace I obviously got myself killed immediately after. But then it's time to fight Commander Niall, and obviously this is going to be very easy, right? Okay, well, in all honesty, this really shouldn't have been that hard, but because I'm bad and stupid, I kept doing a lot of dumb things and getting myself killed for them. On top of that, my damage against Commander Niall was terrible, which made the fight take longer, and with Frostbite being able to turn certain attacks into one-shots, considering my terrible dodging skills, this made this fight quite a pain in the ass. Yeah, this ended up taking me over 30 minutes to win, and it was mostly because I was being stupid and trying to bait all these huge attacks from Commander Niall and trying to dodge the tornadoes right after getting a hit in myself. But, well, since I'm still bad, I can't dodge these tornadoes for shit, so instead I ended up trying to go for a different strategy. Start with a free charge attack on the dual-wielding knight and follow it up with an R1, and then you'll basically always use a big gap closer move, so hopefully that'll give you the time to kill him before anyone else can intervene, which wasn't the case for me here. But thanks to his aggressive AI, he kind of just isolates himself from the other two anyway, so that allows you to basically just kill him anyways, and afterwards you can focus down the other knight for free. Now you can 1v1 Niall, and since I couldn't dodge the tornadoes at all, I decided to just say screw it and instead just throw myself against him and dodge all of his halberd attacks, because at least they couldn't one-shot me, and they were also way easier to dodge with how slow they were. But it still took a while because, like I said, my damage was terrible, but the bleed procs did help a little. Forcing him to use the halberd also gave me time to let my frostbite resistance go back down so I could avoid getting frostbitten whenever there was another tornado, and that prevented me from getting one shot. And after a while I finally managed to kill him. With him dead, I can take the elevator up to the top of the castle and find the item I came here for, which is the second half of the secret medallion that'll allow me to go to the Erdtree later. And with that, I think that's going to be the end of this video, so thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, maybe dislike and unsubscribe, you know, all that stuff. Just have a nice day, I guess.